All right, Mike. This is a new story. One, two, three. Hank.
All right, back again for these long-winded stories. I'll give you a short story here and give you some advice about being in combat. During Desert Storm, there's some kind of misconception that the Americans went over there and all the Iraqis just threw their hands up in there and gave up. Well, that's about a bunch of bullshit. I'll tell you straight up, that's bullshit. I was with the 7th Cavalry, 4th of the 7th Cav, the 3rd Armored Division, and I was in Charlie Troop is the instructor pilot there. We had 4 Cobras there in the troop and 6 58 scout birds, and we fought from the very beginning of the war. Really, several weeks beforehand, we'd been flying border there. We had moved out of Daman on the port with our aircraft the day the air war started. We moved up to a forward position right below the Iraqi border there where the berm was, where the Iraqis had put up berm, and we were flying missions from that day forward along the border and fighting and shooting back and forth with the damn Iraqis. Well, when the actual ground offensive started and we moved forward, we were in front of the 3rd Armored Division, and we were in front of the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment for the first 2 days. We were in front of the Corps, and we were 7th Corps. And on the second night, we did a passage of lines and moved forward into where the Republican Guards, the Tawakana Division of the Republican Guards were. And the first couple of days, most of the folks that we ran across were conscripts, folks that are not very good troops, and they wanted to surrender. The last 2 or 3 days, we came across the Republican Guards who had been fighting for 8 years with the Iranians, and these were hardcore battle-hardened cadre, and they were not going to give up. And they were a bunch of, only thing I say, a bunch of low-down, thieving trash out of hell. Everywhere we went and captured any of their equipment, it was their trucks and their equivalent I deuce in a house, which are Mercedes-Benz and stuff. All their vehicles were loaded down with stuff they had stolen from Kuwait and Kuwait City, and they were trying to beat feet out of town with all their gear. It was like a bunch of damn burglars or something. And then when we came up on them, most of the time we'd just catch them by surprise, and we'd get in these hellacious firefights. I flew at least 4 missions a day, and my aircraft carried 750 rounds of 20mm cannon ammunition and 38 rockets and 4 TOW anti-tank missiles. I would shoot everything we had on every mission and land with about 5 to 10 minutes of fuel left, which is, you're supposed to, you had a 20-minute fuel light. We'd land with about 10 minutes on that fuel light. We never left without shooting our last round at them. And this went on for about 4.5, 5 days. And we ran into Republican Guards. You hear about General Masterson and all that. He was a captain then with Ghost Troop at 2nd ACR, and he fought there at 73 Easting. Well, we fought at 73 Easting at Phase Line Bayonet, and of our 24 Bradleys we had in our squadron, 6 of them were knocked out, and we lost 3 guys were killed in action, and another 20 or so were wounded pretty badly, and we put it on their asses is all I got to say. They said that after the war, General Fred Franks and General Schwarzkopf came out and talked to us and said that that we had taken the most casualties of any unit other than the unit down there in Riyadh that got hit by the Scud missile, the water purification unit, bless their souls. You know, but for the units up there on the line fighting, that we took the most casualties, and we also inflicted more casualties than any other battalion-sized unit in the 7th Corps. We were in the Army that was over there, and we're also supposedly the highest. And the dogs of war, you can hear them in the background there. And we're also the highest or most decorated unit of the war for battalion size. My lieutenant colonel, the squadron commander, he went on to become a 2-star and was the Fort Knox commander and the commander for the armor and cavalry school there at Fort Knox. When he was a 1-star, he spent 3 years as body recovery, or head of the body recovery unit there that was in Vietnam and all. And very, very, very brave man. And that was General Terry Tucker. And we had another, our command sergeant major, Ronald Sneed, got his 3rd Silver Star. We was fighting there with 7th Cavalry with us. He spent 5 years in Vietnam with the 173rd, and had gotten 2 Silver Stars there, and got a 3rd one there in the desert. And he was the most beloved soldier I ever met. He reminded me a lot of, we were soldiers once and young. When you see Sergeant Major Plumley, he was kind of like a Sergeant Major Plumley guy. He was a real deal. You know, we were out there in that damn desert, and it was like living. It wasn't hot during the war. In fact, it was freezing cold. And we flew in the morning. We'd get up about an hour and a half before daylight, and get up and get our aircraft going and under goggles and move forward to the lead element of the 3rd Armored Division, whichever tank brigade was in the lead element that day. And then we'd land that night, usually about an hour after it had gotten dark under goggles. And then the Apaches would take over, and there were some good guys too. The Apache pilots and all were brave men, and I was proud to have them there alongside of us. But one story I'll tell you is we were flying, and the visibility had gotten down to out there in the desert. We have thunderstorms, and is mixed also with the smoke from the burning oil wells. And visibility would go anywhere from a mile or 2 and drop down sometimes to 100 to 200 yards or 100 to 200 meters. And you just run up on people. They didn't know we were there, and we didn't know they were there, and it'd just be just a shootout right there on the spot. And so we learned something real fast. And being a retired CW4 that I am, and a master aviator, and all I can tell you that I learned is FFA, like, just remember FFA, like Future Farmers of America. FFA, that shoot first, shoot fast, and shoot accurately. So it means you get that first shot out, and make damn sure you get it out right then. Don't be assing around, because there's a bunch of dead Iraqis because they hesitated. And make sure you put steel on target. Doesn't count shooting wild. You have to put steel on target, and you have to know what you're shooting at, and you need to know your weapon systems inside and out. We got in a shootout with a damn T-62 Russian tank that was part of the Iraqi Guards. He was coming from our 3 o'clock and moving across towards our 9 o'clock position, and he came out of the smoke and fog about 200 to 300 yards in front of us. and he didn't know we were there because he was buttoned up. And there are people fighting all around left and right, and tanks shooting each other, and right where we were at was about a 200-yard, 300-yard visibility. And we tried to engage him, and he saw us. We fired 20 at him just to make sure he was buttoned up, and it just sparkled, just hitting the turret and all, and off his turret. And then was slamming rockets into him, 2.75-inch rockets, 10-pounders with super quick fuses on them, Mark 66 motors, and he was trying to shoot at us with this coax, his 30 cal that was in the turret. And as he would move his turn around, I hit him with a 2.75, and it'd stop. I'm sure it was ringing their bells inside there. And but the tow missile would never come online. And my front seater, very brave second lieutenant, very competent, damn good man, a very brave man, Al Lynn, in West Pointer. 2 weeks out of West Point, he was in the desert and going into combat. So always be ready. You don't know where you're going to go and when you're going, you know. And he 2 weeks, like I said, out of school, out of Cobra school. He was with the squadron as we were deploying to the desert. Well, Al's up in the front seat, and he's trying to get the tow missile off the rail, and can't get the damn tow missile off. We have some of our black boxes in the back. I think the electronic power supply, EPS, or the SCA, stability control amplifier, it'd burn out. We had a shortage in our wires, and it'd burn out after firing a missile or two. So no missiles were coming off the damn rail. We couldn't retreat because we pulled back into the fog. We don't know where this guy's going to go, because then he'd be out there amongst all the American vehicles and American tanks, and we were having trouble with the fracture side, and we didn't want that to happen, to have him out there in between our tank units. And but we didn't have anything that would stop him, and he kept turning his turret. He was getting closer, and every time we'd hit him with the rockets, the turret would stop for a few seconds, and it'd start coming, and you could see the tracers, green tracers, coming out of his 30. And Al's getting pretty excited up front, and I'm getting excited in the back, and we're hollering and all, like, you know, and we're trying to fly the Cobra, and we're at about 15 feet off the ground. That was the height we normally flew, because that way they couldn't engage us with the surface-to-air missile systems or the man pads, and but also we could turn some without actually digging our blade into the ground and crashing. So we were up there, and he was getting about to get us, and we were trying our best to slide to the right as he was going to the left. And as we were like that, then out of the damn blue, this damn bolt of lightning goes directly into our aircraft, and right out to the front, just like it was like somebody was standing directly underneath the aircraft, and shot a bolt of lightning and hit that damn T-62. And when it did, it ripped the damn turret off of it, just exploded, turned the damn turret off of it, blew it about 50 feet in the damn air. And we're like, holy shit, what was that? And we looked down, we slid to the right, we looked down, and there was an M1 Abrams tank was sitting directly underneath us. I mean, he wasn't 5 feet, wasn't more than 5 feet beneath my skids, and because of those guys in that M1 had seen what was going on, and they pulled up and put a sabot in that T-62 and blew its damn turn off and saved our lives that day. So just remember, FFA, shoot first, shoot fast, and shoot accurately. Hey, and thanks a lot there, tankers, and thanks a lot there, Apache guys, and AirCAF.